We go, and welcome to The Real Deal, your source for spoiler-free movie reviews. I'm Nathaniel Ahart.
I'm Alex Kent.
And I'm Jacob Towell.
On today's episode, we will be reviewing Ford v Ferrari. But first, we have a segment that we like to call Movie News, where we will be discussing the hottest topics within the film industry. Now, this one has been the buzz for the past few weeks, and it is none other than the casting of James Dean in the new Vietnam War film, Finding Jack. Yup, you heard right. Supposedly, his likeness is supposed to be replicated using CGI and old photographs, and I think I can speak on behalf of all of us that this is a terrible, terrible idea.
Yeah, it's definitely a terrible idea. I mean, CGI has been used in the past before. It's been used in Rogue One. It's been used in the newest Terminator. But they had real actors behind it, and that's why it was accepted, you know? But now we have a completely CGI entity that is taking a role of a human being, and that's just wrong on many levels.
I want to relate this to music too, because I'm a big music guy. They've been doing holograms too of Buddy Holly and Roy Orbison and all the older guys. At least those were works that they did when they were live. This is a completely new entity, and I think that the morality of it is just so convoluted because they're using real footage of him, but he's not the human element of art is what you need. And
exactly. And the thing is, it's like they're crediting him as James Dean. It's not him. And a lot of actors have been like speaking out about it. Like Chris Evans tweeted about it. I know Dylan Sprouse. I think Elijah Wood. A lot of people are just so against this because you're taking a job away from someone else who's alive and could be working, instead giving it to this dead icon who's been dead for almost 70 years.
Even with the newest Star Wars movie, they're using old footage of Carrie Fisher from, I think, Force Awakens and Last Jedi. And that's how they're making that character.
It's actually Carrie Fisher.
It's a human. They actually filmed it for the right reason. She was behind it. There was a brain behind it. This is just animators.
And they've came out and said that would be wrong if they just made her CGI, you know? So.
Yeah, I just really hope the industry doesn't go in this direction. Well, in other news, I think we all know about the much anticipated Disney Plus that dropped exactly 1 week ago from today. Now, I haven't got to enjoy all the Disney goodness quite yet, but I was curious as to what your guys' experience has been with the new platform so far.
Yeah, I've had some experience with Disney Plus.
Oh, yeah?
I think I've been watching Mandalorian. I've watched the first 2 episodes. I watched the first one, I think, twice, and I mean, it's probably my favorite Star Wars content that Disney's put out thus far, like close with Rogue One. It's the most classic Star Wars it could possibly get. I mean, it's really fun to watch. And they have a lot of content on there. They got everything you've really like ever watched before. They got Marvel, Star Wars, Nat Geo. There's a lot of good movies, but I mean, we've seen a lot of them already, you know?
Yeah, I personally haven't gotten Disney Plus yet, but I've been using my roommate's. We've been watching The Simpsons through his free trial together. Yeah. And I miss the early Simpsons. That's just one point I want to throw out there. But it's just so cool to see Disney, even though there's the whole stigma that they're a monopoly. I mean, and they own everything. That's a stigma. That's a stigma. I'm not saying I believe it. But the whole thing is there's a lot of great content and all that stuff. I love Pixar movies. I'll visit those immediately, all of them. I need to see Up Again. Both of us need to.
Absolutely.
And I'm looking forward to it, getting it probably for the holiday season. But everything I've heard and read about it so far, it's been a success, other than the first day launch.
Well, my one big issue with it is that they're censoring old content from films like Dumbo with like the crows because of racist caricatures and stuff.
Right.
And I think there should be a disclaimer saying, oh, this is a product of its time or whatever. But to like censor art, I'm not okay with that.
They changed the Greedo scene again in episode 4 of Star Wars.
That's never going to stop happening.
They changed it again. But yeah, I mean, restrictions, they shouldn't be. I don't think Disney Plus should be restricted at all. Well, I thought it was always going to be kind of a place or an outlet for some mature content for Disney to be put out. But as of right now, we don't have that.
Well, 2 things I want to add. I believe in the future they will add more mature content. It's just starting, so they want to get the people in first before they start risking themselves. And also another thing, the disclaimer, it's because there's so many young people that are watching. I know the parents should be explaining, but I think it's a good thing to have nonetheless.
People should be educated. Well, in this past week, we saw 2 major releases get brand new trailers, one of which was loved by fans. The other, well, not so much. Sonic the Hedgehog finally gave us our first look at the redesign of the titular character, to the approval of many. On the other paw, however, Cats gave us a second trailer, and yikes, yeah, they look terrifying. But what do you guys think? How do you feel about these trailers?
Cats. Let's just start with Cats. It's probably got good writing. It's probably going to be, it's probably going to have an amazing soundtrack, but the way it looks right now is off-putting. It's it's just not it's not really nice to look
It's
at.
nightmare-inducing is the best
Yeah,
way to put it.
nightmare-inducing. If it was an animated feature film, it could make probably as much money as like Frozen can.
Yeah.
But as of right now, it's $200 million and coming out the same day as Star Wars Episode 9.
Not a good movie to go up against. And the thing is, like to your point about the script, it's directed by Tom Hooper, who did the Best Picture winner King's Speech and Les Mis from 2012.
Those are great movies.
Exactly. And so I feel like, on the other hand, with Sonic, while the design looks good and it harkens back to the classic video games,
Right.
I just feel like the script, from what I've seen, it seems like garbage. So I'm a little worried.
With Sonic, I love the video games, and I'm sure many millennials like myself do. The original design was just a slap in the face, but this new one, as you can see on the screen, additional $5 million were thrown into the new trailer that was released a few days ago, and I'm just looking forward to it. Even Jim Carrey, I know he's playing Eggman, and I think he's just playing himself. I don't even think he's resembling Eggman. I mean, Eggman was fat and big and nothing like him, but I'm just interested to see the end product. We saw Detective Pikachu together, enjoyable, so.
Yeah,
Right.
well, we will review it on the show. That is a guarantee. Now, when we come back, we are jumping right into the goods. Our review of Ford v Ferrari coming up next. Welcome back to The Real Deal, your source for the latest spoiler-free movie reviews. As mentioned on the last episode, Ford v Ferrari is a film we were all very much anticipating, especially now that we're in the midst of award season. Now, the film is directed by James Mangold, the filmmaker responsible for such films as Copland, Walk the Line, 3:10 to Yuma, and Logan. Got a lot of buzz coming out of the Telluride and Toronto Film Festivals, respectively. It stars Christian Bale and Matt Damon, along with John Bernthal, Catriona Balfe, Tracy Letts, Josh Lucas, and Noah Jupe. It's about Henry Ford II and his company taking on Ferrari at Le Mans in 1966 with the help from Ken Miles, played by Bale, and Carroll Shelby, played by Damon. Now that we've all seen it, do you guys believe this is a serious award contender, or is it just an overhyped piece of nostalgia?
I mean, knowing how the awards work, it will definitely get a few nominations. Sound design is a guarantee. Like every time the cars were moving, you heard it.
That's
They were
true.
loud.
Acting-wise, I believe Bale, if the two of them, between Damon and Bale will get one, even though it's not one of his best performances.
No.
I think it's a little overhyped, but at the same time, it will easily get nominations.
Yeah, I agree. I think that it's a very well-made film, but, you know, it isn't anything too out of the ordinary and such, and I think it's a bit over long.
That's
I mean, it's
kind of-
2.5 hours, you know?
That's kind of what I felt as it was coming out, and I watched the trailers and just anticipating it. Is that I didn't really feel like it was going to be anything that special. I didn't think it's definitely a little overhyped, right?
Yeah,
But
I agree.
I guess this movie kind of just went as far as their characters, and the characters were kind of shallow.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say they had their things, and they did them well, but I think that it didn't really go much beyond that. Like, you didn't understood exactly, no pun intended, what drove them. So I don't know. It just I wish there was more, but like for what it was, I enjoyed it. The racing stuff, really, really great.
Yeah, that was
you know.
phenomenal.
But also, I do want to point out that Tracy Letts, who played Henry Ford II, is the dad from Lady Bird.
Oh,
and I didn't
really?
know
Wow.
that until after, and I was like, wow.
He had some of the standout
That's a big
scenes too,
transformation.
especially his emotional breakdown that he had. I'm not going to
Oh,
give the
yeah,
reason
yeah,
why. That was
yeah.
pretty
Well, it's in the
funny.
trailer, yeah,
Yeah,
but-
yeah. Overall, though, as you were saying, like the racing sequences, as you would expect with a film like this, they were definitely the reason to stay. Like the final 45 minutes sequence of the racing.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely the highlight of the film. Everything about it. Even Christian Bale when he's driving and his British accent, he's just so humorous and entertaining to every second on screen. Just so energetic and vibrant.
It's just a really interesting movie because all the pieces are there for like a really Oscar-worthy film, but for some reason there's just something lacking the entire
Yeah.
time, and it is the characters. I mean, I really wanted to see them develop. I wanted to see them change. And I don't really think that's what happened in the movie.
Exactly, and especially if we're talking about Bale, they're both going for lead actor, but I think we can all agree if anyone gets
It's gonna be
nominated,
Bale,
it's
yeah.
Bale. But do we really want to put him up against Adam Driver in Marriage Story, Joaquin Phoenix in Joker, Antonio Banderas in Pain and Glory. Like, it just doesn't seem like it is completely warranted of a nomination. And Bale is like my favorite actor from his generation. I think he's one of the best actors working today.
Well, I think the thing is they'll give it to him out of respect, and the thing is he was playing himself. This was like the first time ever
Yeah.
he was playing someone
it was
similar to himself.
his accent, everything.
His
yeah.
look, he didn't have to lose or
Right.
gain weight. So
Well,
I
he
think
did after Vice, but yeah, I understand what you
yeah.
mean.
So we'll see. Hopefully, this movie at least he gets a nomination out of respect.
I don't know. We'll definitely see. There's still a lot to talk about in terms of that.
And there's
But
still uncut gems.
uncut gems, yes indeed. Well, after the break, we will be back to the races as we continue our discussion of Ford v Ferrari. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to our review of Ford v Ferrari, right here on The Real Deal. So, the screenplay of the film was written by Jez and John Henry Butterworth, along with Jason Keller. Now, this is Keller's first major screenplay that has received critical success, but the Butterworths have collaborated together on some films such as Edge of Tomorrow and Get On Up. So, do you guys think the fact that Mangold didn't write the script hurt the film?
I mean, after you just saying that they wrote Edge of Tomorrow, which is one of, I mean, even though it copies Groundhog Day in a way, it's still very innovative. The thing with this film is it felt so safe and cookie cutter to a degree. I mean, it's your standard historical biopic about a situation in time that's overlooked. I think it definitely hurt because with Logan, he did all aspects of it, Mangold. And full control of the tone, which was different from any other superhero movie, like a noir.
Well, like in film noir, and that's like the thing that's so great about Logan, and he got nominated for adapted screenplay deservedly, is it's a character-driven story.
Yeah.
And I don't think that the characters here were very great, and like
Even though it is a character-driven story, which
Yeah.
is weird. Yeah, like I really expected more out of them, but we didn't get that.
no, and like when they meet, it's like you know they met before, but you don't really understand like how or why.
When I first watched them meet, I was confused. I didn't know what was happening. I thought they were meeting for the first time, and later on we learned that they've already met. So it just
Yeah.
kind of throws
Another
you into
thing
this
that I
chemistry
wanna throw
between
in
Damon and
there-
Bale. It's just very weird.
Another thing is they had so much room to improve because nobody really knows unless you're a diehard race fan who these people are. I mean, I'm going to talk for myself right now. And the thing is, you can throw around, obviously don't mix around facts, but you can teach us things that we don't know. Like this felt like a Wikipedia article that was not fully done, I think is the best way to put it.
Well,
Yeah.
I will say though, I think even though I've been bagging on the fact that it's very surface level, I had a lot of fun with this movie.
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of heart to it, you know, especially you know, with the Ford like America versus Italy, right?
And at no point was I really bored in the movie at
No.
all. Which
Well,
is
the runtime
I mean,
was the biggest
the
fault.
runtime's long. There are some parts where it kind of just lags on, but for most of the time, it had me very engaged.
Yeah,
Especially
so-
that whole final sequence was amazing.
Oh,
And that's probably why it was so long.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting too because it definitely doesn't paint Ferrari in a good light, but it doesn't particularly paint Henry Ford II
Yeah, I was
in a good light
surprised about
either.
the themes in this movie. I thought they were going to be, I guess, kind of pandering towards Ford and motor companies, but it was kind of anti-company. You know?
Yeah, it was basically
Could say that, yeah.
if you're involved with the big business, the theme was the small man in a way, like Christian Bale's character. He's the one that should really be winning in this society, not the people that are rich and just spending their money without truly knowing the consequences of what they're doing.
And I also felt like parts of it were repetitive, like especially with the dilemma with Bale's character, how they didn't want him in the race, and like that whole thing. It just felt like they kept hitting the same point, but it wasn't too repetitive to the point that it like tanked the movie for me. But I was just like,
Right.
yeah,
No,
you could
I
do
actually
without
have to
a little
compare
bit.
this to a movie that I know we disagree about, but I, Tanya has the same theme with Tanya Harding not being a good representative for the figure skating. They felt Christian Bale was the same way. And I like the theme, but it did drag on and get
Yeah,
repetitive.
I thought there were so many points in this movie where people had like the option to kind of change their ways, and like it was almost obvious that they were going to, but right when they could have happened, it never happened.
And the thing is, the screenplay, as we're saying, it's weird because we're stacking this into the Ward, slumping it into the Ward conversation with films with screenplays as great as Parasite by Bong Joon-ho or Jojo Rabbit by Taika Waititi, which like some of the best screenplays of the year. And I don't really understand, like it doesn't ever reach the depth or the poignancy or it's not as well structured. It's just kind of, as Alex said, by the numbers. And that's fine to an extent for what it is, but I just don't think it should be as highlighted in the talks
Yeah.
for
One
award
last
season.
thing is Josh Lucas' character too.
Yeah.
He was just your stereotypical. When he entered, after a while, you just expected the dun dun dun.
Yeah,
With-
there's no depth
I knew
to
from
him
the
at all.
moment he walked into that room in his first scene that he was going to be the antagonist of this movie. He made like a really weird, like bossy face, and I mean, I hated him throughout the movie, which is good on his part. He did a
Yeah,
good job,
sure.
but I feel like he could have loosened up a little bit, and I feel like he would have in real life. He probably even did, but I don't really know the true history of it.
Well, maybe they don't either, and this is what we'll
Yeah, this
Even
is the
so,
result.
while we corroborate on our final thoughts of the film, we'll leave you with a piece of trivia. Which actors did James Mangold direct to Academy Award wins? Find out when we come back. Welcome back to The Real Deal. Now, before the break, we asked you who James Mangold directed to Academy Award wins. Well, the answer is Angelina Jolie for Best Supporting Actress in Girl Interrupted, and Reese Witherspoon for Best Actress in Walk the Line. He also directed Joaquin Phoenix to a Best Actor nomination for Walk the Line, though he lost to Philip Seymour Hoffman in Capote. Now, about James Mangold, I know we mentioned this before, but I think for his follow-up to Logan, I mean, it's a really solid effort, and I appreciate all the work that was put into it, but it is a little lackluster, you know?
I mean, Logan's a full-blown character piece.
Yeah.
And this is not. I mean, even though it revolves really around the characters, Ford v Ferrari, it's nowhere even close to that film.
No.
Well,
no.
even with Walk the Line, you were just mentioning Reese Witherspoon and Joaquin Phoenix. That film is also an historical study of Johnny Cash and his wife, June. And that film, you actually felt the depth of the characters. I mean, it was a little restrained by the biopic formula of musicals, but at the same time, Mangold had more structurally, I guess, I would say the best way to put this is there was tonal inconsistencies.
Did he
with-
write and direct
Yeah,
that
that's what-
movie?
He directed it. I don't know if he wrote it.
okay.
We can figure that out.
Yeah, we
but-
can find that out later. But yeah, I just think, I think it could have been better considering what he's done. Now, Alex, what are your final thoughts?
So overall, Mangold's film is well made, fantastically acted, and historically relevant. But what restrains this film from being amazing is an overrunning length combined with a lack of relationship developments. And certain characters are just in the background or full-on caricatures like the Italians in the film. On the level of sound design, you feel like you're in the car during the intense racing sequences that dominate this work. Bale and Damon are arguably having the most fun of their career with a playful edge, which was nice to see. And with all of the Oscar buzz surrounding this release, sadly, I was somewhat disappointed. Still, this is a film with enjoyable scenes that never fully hits the mark due to tonal inconsistencies, and might be worth to revisit this on TV in the future because there's nothing inherently bad about it. Just a little overhyped in my opinion. 7 out of 10.
You know, I absolutely agree with you, Alex. And while it's nice to see a studio film that harkens back to those of the past, the surface level characters and the story length and the length of the film kept me back from quite loving this film, which does contain some exhilarating racing sequence and a lot of heart nonetheless. I'll give it 7.5 out of 10.
Yeah. To kind of reiterate what you guys said, Ford v Ferrari is a film filled with heart, but it's missing its soul. The true story of Le Mans '66 is engaging and intense enough to keep you interested throughout the film, but it's dragged down by its lengthy runtime and over 2.5 hours and surface level characters. Matt Damon and Christian Bale both provide heartfelt and powerful performances, but their characters don't appear to change by the end of the film. This is the same for the majority of the characters, especially Tracy Letts Henry Ford II, who was presented with multiple story beats that the writing just seems to veer off the tracks. Development, minimally. The film still entertains with a surprising anti-corporate theme, wonderful chemistry between Damon and Bale, and easily some of the best sports racing sequences in all of cinema. I give Ford v Ferrari a 7.5 out of 10 as well.
Well, I'm glad that we're basically all on the same page.
Definitely the best film on The Real Deal we've seen so far.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah, for
so
sure.
far. And unfortunately, yes, this is the last show we'll be airing this season. However, that does not mean season 5 is over just yet, because in early December, we will be dropping a webisode review of Martin Scorsese's The Irishman. And for cinephiles like us, this is basically Christmas. And not only did we have to wait the whole year for it, but it also was brought to us by one of the greatest directors of all time.
Well, he's my personal favorite director. I actually did a name quiz the other day, and I put that question in, and everyone was shocked. But Scorsese has always been my favorite. Goodfellas is my favorite film, if you remember from the first episode. And everything about this just speaks to me on so many levels. De Niro, Pacino, and Pesci starring in roles. And De Niro and Pacino have never been together since Heat, I think, was their last role. Or something in 2008.
Right.
There was something in 2008, too.
But I heard it wasn't that good, yeah.
But yeah, I'm just looking forward to it on many levels. And next Wednesday is really going to be an early Christmas present, I guess is the best way to put it.
I mean, this is by far my most anticipated movie of the year.
100%.
I think it's been since I heard about it. And this is also using CGI de-aging as well for Robert De Niro's character.
Yeah, I think him and Al Pacino.
And from the pictures that I've seen, it's looked pretty amazing. I mean, they look almost like spitting images of themselves in earlier past movies. But I really hope that this is like another classic mob or gang movie, because we haven't gotten those in years.
Well,
years.
we talk about award contenders like Parasite and Jojo Rabbit. Yeah. I think this might be the one that everybody's kind of viewing right now is the best, like the front runner for Best Picture. This and Marriage Story. And as you said, this has been my most anticipated film of the year, more than Endgame, more than Tarantino, more than Toy Story. Like, this was the film I was looking forward to the most this year. And I mean, especially, this is Pacino's first time working with Scorsese.
And it just makes you think, like, why didn't they do this years ago? They're already getting older. So.
And it's like, that's the thing, they've been around, they came about in the same generation in the 70s. You know, Pacino starred in two of the greatest mob movies of all time. Martin Scorsese has directed so many great scenes. So I really think this might be the best movie of the year.
I mean,
but
with
we have to see.
with the age of all these actors, they have, I think, an opportunity to, I guess, have a performance that's kind of unseen for them. I mean, when was the last Pacino movie where he's really been in a serious role? And even De Niro.
I mean, he was in a TV movie for HBO. I forget what it was about.
Right.
Paterno, right?
Yeah, it was Joe Paterno.
But I think they have a really special. I think they have a really special part to play in this role regarding their ages. I think it's going to be pretty good.
I think it's going to be a nice realization because the theme of the movie is also mortality as well. I think they're going to realize that this might be their last hurrah. It's a little morbid to say, but they're getting older, so hopefully it lives up to its expectations.
100%. Well, for all of you watching live TV, thank you for tuning in with us this season. And if you're interested in watching our season finale, be sure to follow our Twitter at TheRealDealWTOP to stay in the loop. Once again, have a good night, folks, and of course, keep it real.